Good afternoon and welcome to the March 24th Capital Investment Committee meeting. And I'll take roll call. Alderman Brown.
Here.
Alderman Blanton.
Here.
And Alderman Berger here. Alderman Hanson is absent today. All right. I have number one, consideration of approval of minutes for the January 27th committee meeting.
Move for approval.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor?
Nope, roll call.
All
On the vote, you'll need to go through everybody's
right.
name, please.
All in favor?
Call out their
Alderman
names
Brown.
one by one.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. I got it. How many years did it take me not to learn that, to undo it? All right, consideration, number two, consideration resolution 2022-17, resolution authorizing condemnation of acquisition of right-of-way and easement for the Del Rio Pike Improvement Project. Jimmy Wiseman, you look a little different today, but
A little
go ahead.
different. My accent's not as thick.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm
I
working
hear
on
the
it.
accent.
So if
Go
you
ahead.
remember, Goodall Homes is doing the development north of Founder's Point on Del Rio Pike that the board approved. As part of that development, they were required to widen Del Rio Pike to a 3-lane section and improve along their frontage.
Yeah.
That has resulted in off-site easements. We've been struggling with one parcel in particular that was owned by Zaring Homes, I think I pronounced that correctly, which was ultimately bought by Dries. And so there's a lot of different title issues associated with it. And it's really a remnant parcel that we believe should have been transferred over to the HOA that never got transferred over. We've struggled at getting anyone from Dries to help and work with us and cooperate. Ultimately, what we've decided is going through the condemnation process is the best route, mainly because the title's not clear as well. And it says that there's a financial impact here of $3,225. That's not exactly correct. I'll change that. Ultimately, the financial impact's all rolled up into the road impact fee offset agreement, and the developer is only entitled to reimbursement based on the amount of fees that they pay. So I'll clean that up before it goes to the board. There is truly no additional financial impact associated with this condemnation resolution, other than the staff time going through the condemnation process. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
So, not about the actual, but I'm trying to understand where this, I know where the plot of land is, so it's on the other side of, it backs up to Founder's Point, right along Del Rio. What's the development there? What is that?
Looks like the entrance to Poplar Grove.
Yeah.
So they have to improve along their frontage, and they have slope easements that where they get on both sides of the property. It's impacting both sides of the property, and so
But
that
is the-
actually
But
they
is it
have
from the, are we talking about Riser Point?
not Riser Point, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the development. Just to the left of that lake, or right at the actually it's right there at that lake is where it is. I don't remember. I'm
Is
sorry, I
it a
don't know
Reese
the name.
property? It's
I thought
Owen
Reese was
Reese's-
down with block.
It's on Reese's property. I just don't know what the development
I mean, I
is.
feel bad, this is in my ward, but that's why I'm trying to ask. I'm not quite sure I understand what the development is that's actually doing the road. It's probably irrelevant to this, but I'm trying to understand it.
It's a development just north of that.
It's
Okay.
development north of Riser Point that was approved a couple years ago.
It's been a while. They've honestly struggled at getting going because of the right-of-way acquisition that they need to do.
Okay.
And there's transition tapers associated with the 3-lane section. That's why they start to get beyond the frontage of their development.
Gotcha.
And I'm happy to follow up and send you an exhibit
I'm
of the
trying to figure out where this
development.
So you're saying it's on that other side, though? It's down from Riser Point on the other side of that lake?
It's north of
You
Del
do, but you
Rio
gotta get the
Pike
right
is
of way
where
on the
we're
other
going.
side, because you're doing, you gotta do both sides.
Both sides, yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I think I'm still not entirely sure where it is. You consider
I
it
can,
great?
I can send you an
Well, if
exhibit.
look,
Great.
though, if
Point
you'll
it out in the
go
map.
up
It is,
some,
it is
It doesn't. It
west
cuts
of
right there.
Riser Point, right?
West of
West
Riser.
of
West of
Riser
Riser, north
North of
of Del Rio.
Yeah.
but if you look at the map, it is right at the base of the entrance to Poplar Grove. Look, do you see
It's
that?
It
part
is,
of
yeah.
that.
So there's the entrance to Poplar Grove, and it sits
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
They're also acquiring right-of-way and easements from Founder's Point, and they're working with the HOA. So there's a few tracts of land that the developer has to work with.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Alderman Berger, or Alderman Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. All right. Passes 3-0. Number three, yeah. I was just making sure that I had that other thing right. Okay, number 3, consideration of City of Franklin contract 2021-0346 with road impact fee reimbursement agreement with Patterson Company LLC regarding extension of Market Street in the Taproot Hills PUD subdivision.
So
That
as
part, yeah.
Taproot Hills came through the development PUD process, PUD process, we did not have a collector impact fee established. After their PUD got approved, the collector impact fee got approved, and they were required to improve a section of Market Street, build a section of Market Street, which is a collector roadway. So they ultimately ended up paying $277,220 in collector impact fees, which would entitle them to be reimbursed for the improvements that they made. The improvements cost substantially more than this, but we met about this multiple times to vet it and understand the request, because obviously it's after the fact. But he did pay the impact fees. He did make the improvement, which means he is entitled to the reimbursement. So ultimately, we are recommending approval of this road impact fee. Generally speaking, our policy, this is just in this weird time period, our policy is that they are expecting a reimbursement or some type of contribution from the city that has to be approved upfront at the
Right.
PUD process, or they don't get it. This, again, just happened to be in that weird time frame when we were adopting collector impact fees.
I was wondering what was gonna happen with that, because he paid, a lot of money to put that, it's all the way through to the end of that development.
Correct.
So that's where they're gonna pick up, take that all the way to 96 then from there.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think he spent, well over that.
He spent well over that.
It was
Well, I'm glad
sizable.
we're doing the right thing.
Okay,
I'll move to approve.
Second.
all right. Alderman Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Passes 3-0. All right, number 4, consideration, I'm sorry, gotta get this off my computer. Consideration of drafts, City of Franklin Contract 2022-0022 with Hazen and Sawyer, proposal for reservoir management Phase 3, task order for a total of $29,545. Michelle?
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is a budgeted amount that we had, it is, so this past fiscal year, Hazen and Sawyer did a, phase 2 of their reservoir management plan, which was actually creation of the plan. And what it was is, so we have varying water quality in our lake because of the Harpeth River is very temperature dependent. And so what that does is it changes the water quality characteristics of our lake, which then in turn changes the characteristics of how we treat water. And so Hazen worked with us a little bit to help us control the algae, to help, we've actually reduced chemical costs by $60,000 with their recommendations by doing some different sampling. And so this phase 3 is we're kind of in a maintenance phase, and this is just to have them on call if, we kind of have monthly conference calls with them to make sure we take pictures of algae, to make sure we're still on par with where we need to be.
Is that unlimited calls, or do we have a
No,
ceiling?
there's a defined amount in there, and we have them set up, so it's not just, when we want to call them and.
They're scheduled.
Yeah,
Scheduled.
scheduled.
All right,
Move for approval.
Second.
all right. Alderman Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Passes 3-0. All right, thank you. Number 5, consideration of draft change order 10 of City of Franklin contract 2017-0264 with Kiewit, I always say it wrong. Kiewit Infrastructure South Company for the water reclamation facility modification expansion project for a net decrease, woo,
Evidently, we're not supposed to get excited yet.
$424,000, I can't say it,
I think she's already told us before.
$66.40.
So this is actually, I had a typo in the caption and in the financial impact. It's actually a net increase.
A what?
It's a net increase of 424.
And I was so excited.
And
Now I'm not.
so Angie, do I need to read that in caption again?
You're gonna have to,
Okay.
Yeah, just
yeah.
what I sent you in
So,
the
do you
email.
want to read
Okay.
it? Consideration?
Yeah, so the title is incorrect. It should read consideration of draft change order 10 to City of Franklin contract number 2017-0264 with Kiewit Infrastructure South Company for the water reclamation facility modifications and expansion project for a net increase of $424,066.40.
Okay, now explain yourself.
And then in addition,
Nearly as excited as we were.
and then in
Said
addition,
like
the
a mother hen.
financial,
Explain yourself.
the financial impact in there is also needs to be increased instead of
All
in
right.
the memo section it says a decrease. It should also be increased as well. So this was just this is just the standard things that we found that needed to be replaced. Much of this is, if you look in the memo, is parts of the existing plant that we couldn't necessarily assess until we took basins down. So a lot of the gearboxes that needed to be repaired. We have to paint some of the impellers on the mixers that we couldn't see until we took the basin down. A lot of the equipment is getting old, is nearing its lifespan, and instead of we decided to do it under this contract when we're taking a basin down to make it easier that equipment's not needed, rather than having to try and do any sort of bypass pumping.
Which, I love not having bypass pumping. Go ahead.
It should be quieter out there now, by the way.
Let's hope, let's hope.
So the amount remaining in the
It was there before
contingency,
you were.
after we pay this 424, do we still have 772 left?
Yes,
Okay, after.
after, yes.
So that contingency number is accurate in there.
Okay, so
Correct,
I
yes.
wanted to know if that was 772 minus the 424. It's not.
No, it's the remaining
Okay,
afterwards.
according to the way it reads, it's supposed to be remaining, so I just want to make sure.
And we have it, and
We're
the
good.
next, so this change order also includes 7 days for additional rock excavation that they had to do around the UV area, so there is a time extension in this.
All right,
As of now, Kiewit is in liquidated damages. Once this gets approved and this time extension gets approved, they'll be in liquidated damages, so we'll be recovering that $5,000 a day as well.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Which means they're past the original contract completion.
Yeah.
And how long do you
How
think
long
we'll
is
be
it?
getting that $5,000 a day?
So what you'll
Eric's
actually
like-
see on the April 12th agenda is we do need to increase CDM's inspection time to cover that extended contract cost. So right now, their February schedule, which is always the previous month, says there'll be substantial completion in September of this year, I think
So
it
we've gone
is.
from February completion to September?
Yes.
That's a lot of $5,000.
but do we readjust that or not?
Well, that is their readjusted time. So every month it slipped a little bit, and we're having discussions as to why.
They're not going to
they're-
be paying us $5,000 a day between now and September.
Yes.
This is-
They will be?
Well, it really typically gets settled out at the end of your,
It would be a
when you're
deduct.
closing out the
It would be a
project.
deduct, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are also fun. Decreases and deducts are the best.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll talk about that actually to be
All right.
continued on April 12th.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
ongoing
Do you have a
discussion.
motion?
Move to approve.
Second,
All right, Alderman Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. All right, passes 3-0. Wow, interesting, because I saw on there increases, and I went, no, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. So, it's
Yes,
like,
that was
yeah,
my fault.
Okay, that's all right. Number 6, consideration to deny sewer availability at 1111 Beach Tavern Trail. Where's that?
So this is, we can pull up the map. This is right behind the Highgate subdivision, the low pressure system that we
Is that the one, yeah.
installed as
I
part of the
remember.
special assessment district.
That's right, I remember
So this
that.
is outside of that. They have requested denial.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
The applicant's resident is currently on septic,
right.
and
Yeah.
a new septic field will be required, is what the county is indicating for them. So they're requesting denial, we're recommending denial.
Yeah, so we can send it to them.
So they can move forward.
All right.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderman Brown, how do you vote?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
And Alderman Berger, yes. Passes 3-0. All right, I guess we will move on to other business or any updates.
I have a few questions when it's my turn.
Sure, go right ahead.
So, Franklin Road, just kind of like a status update. Sorry, I'm talking with my mouth covered. And then, also, because I've been to a certain tire store twice this week, I've had a lot of questions about Columbia Avenue. So I'd
boy.
love an update there. And I probably have more, but that's all I can think of at the moment.
Okay, we'll start with Franklin Road.
Let's.
Move that a little bit further away. Franklin Road, they obviously are not going to get the incentives. That time has already passed. The only incentive they would still be eligible for would be the per-day incentive, and that would be a maximum of $100,000, I believe, was the total max. And that would be that's a per day of $2,000 a day, above and beyond the contractual completion date for substantial completion of the end of July, which I believe was July 26th or 27th. So they're still working to complete by that contractual completion date. It'll still take a heavy effort for them to complete it by that date.
So what is our best word to pass on the street when people, because I've been saying supposed to be July, but what's realistic? August?
We're still telling
Final completion is in September.
that's when so right now substantial completion and what that's defined as is, yes.
No more of this,
Correct. And
or stop, you go, you
yeah,
go.
so substantial completion would be all the systems on the roadway. So the sidewalks are open, all the new traffic signals are operational, the roadway's there, it's paved, the striping's in place, everything's there except them working on very minor punch list items, getting some landscaping installed, very minor things. So everything's there and operational, no more starting, stopping, except for some minor occurrences to fix a few things that we deem deficient.
And we are.
And we have 60 days past that to do final completion, so that's September. So they're still working to complete it by that original contractual date. And there are liquidated damages in place if they don't meet those dates, and that's also $2,000 per day, based on the contract
But to
date.
the public, that substantial completion.
That's,
basically
that's what
open,
they're wanting to use
fully
it.
used,
That's-
sidewalks and streets, so.
Most people will see that
end
as
of July.
done. End
So
of
the
July.
other thing that I found interesting, because I've not seen it done in other places, was I'm driving through there before it was installed, because I know it takes a lot to get a light pole.
Yes.
Dana and I were going to open a business. It didn't happen.
No
But
kidding.
was that pole that was put in front of Dr. Berthuram's house, I was like, where's this going? Then I realized they were hanging a school sign there.
Yes.
Is that standard practice to have that large of a pole for is that where we're going now?
It really depends on whether you're doing a side-mounted advanced warning sign or whether you're doing an overhead-mounted sign. So if you're doing an overhead-mounted mast arm like we did in this particular case.
Yeah,
you-
I've just not seen that I remember before.
You would still do that size, and we have a very similar style on Hillsborough Road in front of Franklin High School as well. So it's
Okay.
a similar style. So yeah, if you do something overhead, you still have to mount something pretty robust because when
That's
you-
pretty big for that little
and-
sign.
And you have to, anytime you're hanging something that far out over the roadway, it has to be big just
Sure.
because of really the pole itself. You're mounting that much weight over the roadway to hang a sign and flashing lights out there with the wind loads out there and any kind of rain loads or snow loads or anything out there just affects that sign. So it has to be pretty good size. Otherwise, you do have the options of hanging poles on the sign and just running a wire like a span wire across, which is not as attractive looking, but so that's why we do the mast arms.
And when are we going to get Lancaster and Old Liberty Pike signal back
They're
operative?
still working as quick as they can to get the poles in place.
See, there's poles. It's a problem
The,
with poles.
the hold up we had originally was they had a gas line they had to relocate at that one corner. They had the one of the four corner. They could not drill the foundation. They've got that taken care of. The gas line was relocated. They're still waiting on the delivery of that final pole, and they may have already started of getting the foundation drilled in place. Last time I was out there and looked, I believe they were getting started on that. But as soon as they can get the equipment in place, they'll get that back active. They are aware that that's a high priority to get that back up and running, at least in a temporary fashion
Sure.
before that's open.
The other one item that's going to probably drag out a little bit is landscaping. We want to make sure we plant that at the appropriate time of
Sure.
the year.
Yes. We don't want
So
to plant in the heat of the summer. We know it'll die.
You will still see people out there working in September, October, November on the landscaping aspect of
Yeah.
it so that it's not
Yeah.
it doesn't die.
It's ridiculous to put it in. Any other questions?
Yeah, just Columbia Avenue next, but if
So
there's
how
more.
about the rest of the road across the bridge to First Avenue?
Unfortunately, TDOT has not started the actual design on the Franklin Road project on that one. They've actually started the design on the other bridge on 3rd Avenue 96
By Pinkerton.
by Pinkerton Park, correct.
Interesting.
So this roads are gonna be done and we'll never have that improved?
Well,
you
they are going to work in, they're both Improve Act projects.
They
They're
are
basically like
approved
sister-
projects.
Yeah, they are approved
No,
projects.
no, 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 no. What I'm
Approved and funded
saying is, what I mean is that we'll have Franklin Road done and the bridge, across the bridge up through Americana Tap House to First Avenue is not gonna be improved. And we
Yeah,
won't
that was
have-
that was always going to be the case.
And we
The-
don't have a turn lane.
I think, and I believe that
That
the
was not always the
striping,
case.
the striping is included in our Franklin Road project across that bridge is what I remember.
Yes.
And
And if it's not, we can't include that.
We fixed the turn lane aspect of it. What TDOT's doing is ripping the structure down and putting one back that looks prettier, but the laneage is the same. And we're getting wider sidewalks. So from a traffic standpoint, it'll function. They're just working long-term over trying to get the bridge, figure out the logistics of replacing that bridge.
Yeah, because when you came up after the bridge, you know, we had enough room there to put the lanes
Mm-hmm.
and then to stripe it so that we can get people turning right.
And it was
not-
originally supposed to be part of Harper Square's development requirements, but it made sense, and we worked out with
Right.
them that we would take on that aspect of it. I believe they cut us a check for it, is what I remember.
And they
So
realize
that's-
that it has to have one lane available if at all possible. I mean, because,
Yeah.
We've made that very clear.
I mean,
to
look
them
at
multiple
Lewisburg
times.
Pike and what a huge difference that's making.
What we asked them was, we would like to have a conversation about what an expedited project could look like there and what it would look like with a one-lane closure. They haven't engaged us on that yet. I'm hoping that they do, and if there's value in an expedited closure, we'll bring that to you for a decision, but you're right, closing those roads, there's 16,000, 17,000 vehicles a day, would have a detrimental
We've made it
impact.
very clear to them, we want to explore every option possible with both of those projects when it comes to the traffic routing during construction, especially, you know, with those being basically sister projects, because they're doing them both as Improve Act projects. Even the PIN numbers, the way TDOT looks at them, they're one number different, so they're basically the same style of project. We don't want to look at trying to bundle those two together. We don't want them associated really with each other. We'd hate to see those done at the same time. That would be an absolute
Oh my
nightmare.
gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah, so that's.
Well, especially on the heels of what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. So we've made it very clear at every opportunity with them, even if it's just a study or a field meeting, that we absolutely want to have input when it comes to that feature, not only the decorative features of it, like the style of bridge and how they handle the sidewalks and the decorative features of the railings and the lights, but we absolutely want to have say in how it's constructed and the methods and the traffic control and the routing of traffic during construction. And they're very aware of that.
When do we think this will happen?
We don't know right at this point.
5 years?
5 years would be very optimistic at this point, I would say.
Really?
Generally speaking, about 5 years is what it's going to take TDOT to do it. Now, it just depends on,
was joking.
It's a funded project, so that means they're going to move as fast as they can. It depends on a lot of variables like right-of-way utilities and those aspects of it. If the right-of-way's in place, it starts to go much faster, but it's totally in TDOT's hands, and
So
we
they're
can,
redoing the entire
can
bridge
ask.
then?
Oh, yeah, the entire bridge will come down.
yeah, it's all coming down.
It will probably in sections and pieces. Yeah, it's the reason it's getting replaced, and
Okay.
I want to use the right term, it's probably a functionally obsolete bridge is probably the way they
It is.
classify it.
So can you, all right, so when this whole project gets done that we're doing now, so they're just gonna restripe it to First Avenue then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and my only ask would be, because I know we're both frustrated over the restriping that happened on Hillsborough that cut the bike path out of that bridge when they did the Mac Hatcher.
Yes.
We're gonna have these great sidewalks coming from Harlansdale coming downtown. Let's not let that restriping not, prevent us from now having bike lanes and walk lanes that come across those bridges. And it's, yeah, it's unfortunate that happened down there. We still need to figure that one out.
What we will probably try to do with that particular bridge is integrate the bike lanes with a wider sidewalk and just make it a multi-use path
Yeah.
across the bridge itself is most likely what we will look at, just to
Yep.
make that simpler.
Let's get rid of all those trees so we can actually see the river. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it does.
And
Have
then
a little water.
Columbia
Columbia
Avenue. We are actually in the process right now of getting our consultant team on board for appraisal services, review appraisals, negotiations, all the teams on board to work with us to actually acquire the right-of-way. Once we do get them on board, you'll see those contracts come to the board to actually formally approve that team to get them on board to do the work. Right now, we're at a hold standstill. TDOT has told us that they have some concerns with some environmental impacts at the south end of the project. We're working through those issues right now. We don't believe them to be a concern. It's just the way they're looking at the plans. They had some internal process changes at TDOT with the way their environmental section receives plans and the way they time out the receiving of the plans. We just kind of caught in the middle of that.
Southeast or southwest? Because I'm
It is the
visualizing.
southeast section, kind of the hillside there across from Winstead Hill. And it's not the thing you would think it would be. It's not Winstead Hill. It's across from
Interesting.
Winstead
Other side of the
Hill.
street.
Yeah, it's basically, I won't get into the details of it. It's a little ridiculous in my mind, but if they want to look at it, we'll look at it with them. It's just a process change. We're working through that. So it's caused a little bit of a delay, but during that delay, we're still getting the consultant team on board. So it's not causing any problem right now, and we're working through that with you.
So I'm still quoting a 5-year kind of window on that. Is that ignorant or?
5 years until we're driving on it or until, yes, that's still accurate.
Okay, so how many years till we're digging?
I would say you're still about 3 years till we dig.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other questions? All right, anything else?
I'd just say probably the next two, one big project, one small project we're working on bidding out is the Thompson Alley project, which is like a little pocket park, and then Robinson Lake Dam is very close to being bid. So we're really pushing on those to get more construction projects out. A lot of the other ones we're still working, grinding away at trying to get right away completed.
What about Margaret's Bridge?
That's one of those right-of-way ones we're still working through, trying to finalize the right-of-way acquisition.
We're
with
just waiting on the
property owners.
appraisals to come in. And actually, one agreement you will see fairly soon is one we've just worked out with our law department, is with Middle Tennessee Electric for them to acquire their electrical easement that we had talked about working with them. You'll see that agreement come before the board here the next month or so. So we've got that approved through our law department. So they will be able to acquire their easement on the south side, so that helps us out. One additional project I will bring to your attention, it's not a city project, but a state project that will affect a lot of people. And I believe, that's what I was looking up on my phone a second ago to verify the date, was today TDOT is actually scheduled to open the bids on one of their maintenance projects. It's actually the repaving of 96 West and Murfreesboro Road. So 96 West from where Mac Hatcher project was complete, so out there at Carlisle Lane, all the way into Fifth Avenue. So that was scheduled to open bids today, and the work is scheduled to be complete by the end of October. So there's really a time frame window when they'll work with the contractor to schedule that work.
And Murfreesboro Road?
And Murfreesboro Road, so it's all one project, all one contractor. And Murfreesboro Road, State Route 96, will be from the square out here right in front of City Hall, at the crosswalk right there across from the transit shelter at City Hall. So right from the square, all the way out to Interstate.
Wow,
So that's gonna happen this year,
this year? Wow.
unless something were to happen with funding levels.
And that's just a scrape and repave.
That is a mill and resurface.
Mill and resurface.
And what they will, and
I like
actually,
your words better.
they will also
I
be
like it.
working, they will also be doing any sort of handicap ramp replacements, or they call them accessible ramp replacements now as well.
Don't we have some ADA things that are yet to be done out that way?
That's what they will be doing as well,
Okay.
which will be actually helping us because we were going to be required to do those as a part of our
Yeah.
CMAQ grant on Murfreesboro Road, so we're going to let TDOT do those for us since it's a state route.
Great.
And we're almost done on the, sorry. We're almost done on the sidewalk on that last section?
Yes,
They are?
we're actually we're actually past contract date right now. The contractor has just asked for a bit of a time extension. We're working through that right now with them to see what's justified and what's not justified. So we'll get that to you when we have had a chance to fully vet that request from them. We are still looking to be done in about the next month and a half. So we are finally approaching the light at the end of the tunnel.
Just in time for good weather.
And,
Absolutely.
People will use it.
They're already using it.
Yeah,
And
they
the-
are. I see it on the
We're
west.
saving a ton of money
West End.
too with TDOT's milling, scraping, resurfacing of 96, because they're going to help us with the final top coat of that.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
good.
nice and coordinated. Instead of having to do 3 lanes, we're just doing that 8-foot stretch that's kind of ripped up. So you just see us coordinating with them constantly, which is good.
You know, I didn't ask about my favorite.
I know, I was waiting for that MC word.
I'm not even gonna say it.
You were on
I
our
just wanna
bingo
make sure
card.
that we're on time.
We are.
Are we having more delays?
Right away.
Very
Right away is done with engineering. It's through in the condemnation process right now.
We've
and the
closed
legal
everything
team.
we can.
The legal team is working through that. I don't know the exact time frame when they're done, but we are lined up right now. We're meeting weekly with them to talk about the time frame, but we're lined up to make the next submittal to them the second that right away those order of possessions get filed. But
Keep me
it's,
posted.
engineering is pretty much done with it.
Just let me know what's going on.
Yeah, as soon as we get orders of possession on all those, we'll submit them to TDOT and get certification on right of way, and we'll start working through.
Do you know the timetable for 96 Murfreesboro Road for the TDOT Project East? Are they on time? Do you have any
I
communication
don't
with
know.
them?
I don't know. I would assume they're on time. I have
yeah.
not seen
Well,
anything to lead me to believe they're delayed on
yeah.
that one. They're actually making, from what I see,
a lot.
fairly good progress on that one.
They are, pretty much. Yeah, just FYI, I did call Commissioner Lawrence the other day and Eddie Hood and the TDOT because the one-lane bridge tunnels over in Wilson, the water has completely washed out the road under the tunnels, or under the one tunnel. There's no road at all. And they put a sign, now we have the lights. Took us 3 years to get our lights. We finally got the lights. Greg and I browbeated them until they finally came around and we got our lights, but it took a long time. So they got the lights and that really helps people get through the tunnel. But they put a sign by the tunnel when the water came and said impassable, because by the time you got down there, you couldn't. But everybody was going there, and there's nowhere to turn around. People had to get out of their cars and help people turn around. It was a mess. So I asked that a sign, just FYI, I asked that a sign be put at Clovercroft and Wilson. It says, don't go down there, because, and then they're trying to get TDOT to come out. Some parts of the side of the road has fallen off. And so it's hard to even drive on it now. And I had a number of calls. I called Greg, we got on a conference call, we did that. So if you hear anything going on out there, this is what it is.
And-
Did I
You started
have
This is kind of a cliffhanger because I don't remember the details, but I will follow up with you because I saw something the other day looking at TDOT's project map, and there's something planned out there for Wilson Pike, at least on TDOT's radar as
Oh,
far as
dear God.
project development. And I will follow up with
Greg
you
and
on
I used to
that.
go to the MPO and talk all the time till they get tired of us, so, whatever. We haven't been there for a long time. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Berger, yes. Thank you.